one thing that I've been sitting with right now is you mentioned the difficulty accessing the feelings. You know, the difference between sensations and feelings. The feelings being kind of atrophied, and that's something that I'm like I both want to work on, and I don't want to um, do too quickly or do too soon, or I'm not sure where that fits in. Like the body, the sensing, you know, the relaxation, the filling, I can feel that to a certain extent. But then where do the feelings come in? When should we work on them? Should we? I mean, how, you know, anything on that front?
Something that I talk about in some of my videos, and I'm going to be redoing all my videos because I've just discovered a nice way to do them, is a phrase that's very important to Mr. Gurdjieff is the proper form and sequence. And one of the chapters to Beelzebub Tales is entitled Form and Sequence. And there is a proper form and sequence to being mindful, to developing this level of personal consciousness. And I believe that through mindful awareness, through growing our awareness and becoming mindful of more and more things at the same time, is the way we grow our inner being. Now, there's two parts to this, because one of the reasons we can't grow our inner being is because it requires a higher energy. And if we're leaking that energy at the lower level through excessive imagination, daydreaming, excessive thoughts, anger, certain kinds of negative emotions and whatever, we will not have the energy we need for the higher work. But within the context of the higher work, there's a proper form and sequence. And although we emphasize the need and the ability to be able to sense the body as one organic whole, to have that sensation of self, this actually has to fall into second position. It's something that we hold in the back of our awareness to be mindful of. But in order to do that, we've got to practice it and practice it and practice it. So it's the thing that we practice at the beginning that we get most accomplished at. Because initially, or not initially, our primary focus of attention should be on what we see. So consciously looking at the screen, looking at the computer, noticing form, shape, color, hue, consciously listening, aware of my voice, any sounds outside, consciously smelling, any scents, any odors, consciously tasting, while sensing the body. And these become like a positive end of the battery and a negative end of the battery, the head brain and the body brain. And there's something that one of Mr. Gurdjieff's students, Willem Nyland, who had a PhD in chemistry, he was actually Dutch, but he lived in America, and he created, there's the Nyland groups out of Chardovin Barn in Warwick, New York, which is just almost a suburb of New York City at this point. He talked about the simultaneity of mindful perceptions. So it's like these different layers that we can become mindful of. What I can become mindfulness is any present-centered focus of awareness, anything that brings us back to the here and now in this moment. So obviously what I see is I can become mindful of what's going on visually right now in this moment, what is happening auditorily, olfactory, gustatory, the taste in my mouth. And these are the impressions that we should receive, so to speak, in first position. This is the active element, the positive end of the battery. And then at the same time, we should have that sensation of self. And that's why it's very important to build it up and to get to the point where we can sense the sensation of self, sense our organic self as one whole very easily. And then from that, we grow an awareness of our feelings and of our feelings. So within the schema of it, the feelings, and to become mindful of the feelings, mindful of what we are feeling right now in this moment, is a little bit later down the path. And then not only do we become mindful of our feelings, I mean, everyone's feeling something right now. So perhaps you're feeling in your stomach a little bit of despair or dread. That's the most common feeling in the world today. Is that feeling of dread, like something's wrong and the sky's going to fall on us, and you know the news organizations, the media, you know, they're all creating that feeling. You know, they're trying to make us, you know, we live in a fear-based economy where we're going to lose our jobs, where things are going to happen, and you know, all sorts of problems are going to occur. So initially, we can become aware of our feelings, but eventually, we want to be able to breathe in and create a real feeling of joy. So it's a process.